gentlemen, I just want to remind you that we actually have an email list and we would love you to join us. If you want to sign up, go to www.thewizardandthepriestess.com and find your sign up button. Join us today. Riddle me ree, riddle me roo. How about we find my shoe? Get to the point, spells are true. Listen to words, they're truer than you. Welcome. Wizard and the Priestess, playing it out linguistically today. You are here, my dear.
Fuck.
Hello, everyone. Very excited to be here today. We have done some preparation because, as you know, it's 2025 and it is the year of strategy. So we'll be slithering around, not touching the ground, using our rhyme, because that's not a crime. All right, over to you, Matt.
I don't know how to follow that. Well, we're talking about spells, secret spells in our society today. Now, most people think when they hear the word witchcraft, wizard, sorcerer, they think of spellcasters, but they think more mythological.
Yeah, they
and
don't
how
really...
they're not really real, but they're just a Hollywood sci-fi thing, where in reality they are very, very real. And it really started...
Spells, that is, are very, very real.
All of it.
Along with...
They are all very, very real.
Yes.
Yes.
So.
They are very real. And most people don't know that they are under some kind of spell. Most of society would be under some kind of spell in one way, shape or another. So to understand the spelling, we need to look at linguistics. And English, which is the language that we primarily speak, is probably one of the most open languages in the world, meaning we've taken so many words from Hebrew, Sanskrit, Greek, Latin, etc. Whereas languages like German, French, or Latin languages and all other languages, they have systems in place to specifically protect their own language from foreign words coming in to a language. For example, there's a building in Paris whose sole purpose is to protect the French language. We don't have that.
In English?
We add new words, hundreds of new words to the dictionary every year. So with words come vibration, right? With vibration comes sort of like a cause and effect, or an inertia, an energetic inertia, if you will. But what we get taught at school through spelling, half the word is spell.
Yeah.
We are taught grammar, which comes from the French word grimoire, meaning magic book of spells. And that was largely set up by a guy called Noam Chomsky, who was a professor in linguistics, but they used it as a branch of psychology, as did B.F. Skinner. B.F. Skinner, he came up with what's called behavioural analysis. He also funded the School of Experimental Analysis of Behaviour, which is actually behavioural engineering.
And if we want to know one thing about behavioural engineering, we can look back in the recent times that we can actually see.
Well, I was just going to say, let's see if this sounds familiar to anyone. So behavioural engineering, or radical behaviourism, which is positive and negative reinforcement. Is it sounding familiar yet?
Yeah.
So he came up with the apparent conditioning behavioural system. So what that is you know how they do experiments on rats, for example? How if the rat presses a button, they feed it food through a certain controlled environment?
Yeah.
That's what the apparent conditioning behaviour is.
And so what they always learnt was that no matter what, a human or an animal will always choose love over food.
Not quite.
Oh.
they always sought after positive reinforcement regardless.
Positive reinforcement.
But be it to press a button, be it to behave a certain way, even to kill something. If they were rewarded positively, this conditioning behavioural program showed that they will always tend towards that line.
Yeah.
Regardless of what we would call right or wrong or moral or immoral.
Yeah.
So that's been set up in our psychology system. That's also been set up in our education system. Now,
Positive reinforcement.
like just call it reinforcement.
Okay, so
syndrome.
reinforcement.
Yep.
So whether that is, but reinforcement to create an action.
To create a behaviour which
A
leads to the
behaviour
action.
action.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's our psychology and education has been influenced by a guy called B.F. Skinner, whose political viewpoints was to use technology to control humans. Now, he was one of Klaus Schwab's mentors.
Yes.
Klaus Schwab being the head of the World Economic Forum, the unelected leader of that.
That told us that we will own less and be happier.
No, own nothing and be happy.
Oh, that's right. Own nothing.
Less is too much. Way too much. So three of Klaus Schwab's mentors is B.F. Skinner, Henry Kissinger, who focused on global governance and depopulation, and a guy called John K. Galbraith, which he helped create the World Economic Forum. And in 1938, he actually travelled to Germany to study land politics under Adolf Hitler's National Socialist Nazi regime. So that's what's backing the WEF.
Yep. And bring it all the way back.
And
They have... What was this?
that was all influenced by the psychology research of B.F. Skinner.
Who said?
Who, as quoted, if the world is to save any part of its resources for the future, it must reduce not only consumption, but the number of consumers.
Does it feel strange, though, then, that capitalism is where consumption is the overconsumption?
Mm-hmm.
What do we they're using that as a means to kill off the population? Because we are so unwell?
Well, they can't mass kill everyone.
Oh, right.
Because that would be seen as...
Negatively.
that would be seen as negatively orientated, one could say. However, Bill Gates did a speech, I think it was 2013, around then, a TED Talk. And I've seen the video of it 1,000 times.
We'll try and find a link.
Where he says there's too many people in the world, or there's X billion people in the world. If we do a really good job with medicines and vaccines, we can reduce that by up to 30%. I first saw that and thought he was joking, but then no one in the crowd batted an eyelid.
Well, they probably thought he had a Freudian slip.
Sure.
Which brings us back to the power of our words.
Mm-hmm. So words, when we use spells, they're made up of words. Our words shape our reality. And if you think of words in language, language is a window on the mind, okay? So words we use. So these are, well, I'll get into that a bit later. Words have...
Let's talk about the words.
They all have, an origin through history or his story. We get taught spelling and grammar, which we've spoken about, spelling and grimoire. When we use words in succession, we form sentences. So when we use a sentence, we're actually sentencing someone to our spells. So words are synonymous with spells.
Because words are spells.
If you want to look at the real sorcerers of this world, watch TV and look at ads.
Yeah.
Ads use visual psychology and also verbal psychology.
Yeah.
So for an example, McDonald's. What's the colour of McDonald's?
Blue and black. I don't watch.
Maybe above.
I don't even know.
It's red and yellow.
Oh, thanks.
Red and yellow actually stimulate the hormones in the brain to tell the stomach that it's hungry, regardless if you're hungry or not. That's a spell.
Also, which would be like activating the lower chakras, right?
So the more you're in that hunger state, you'll be primarily acting from those lower centers.
Absolutely.
So it's all about consumption.
Hangry
Yeah.
is literally that. I just wanted to touch on that. That I've spoken about this before about mind movies, and literally using spells as ways to activate your future in the way that you actually want it. So realistically, setting up a mind movie is like creating an advertisement for yourself, for your future self, that spell binds the functionality of the brain, which actually impacts the crystals within the brain that are there. We have crystals within us.
Particularly between the pineal and pituitary glands.
Exactly.
Yeah, that
and they're
bridge.
vibrating. And so those spells, specifically in the way that behavioral scientists have figured it out and therefore have sold that on to the advertisers of the world, who now know how to get into us.
Yep.
And that's why the sound is so important. The vibration that the sound makes from either the jingle, the words themselves,
All its specific frequencies.
the frequency,
Yep.
and and then the visual.
To reinforce it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that is how you can create your future or create your life by utilizing the techniques that have been utilized upon us.
Yeah, we'll go into how we can use that as more of a positive thing. But
Yeah.
This is more just to show you
Yeah.
the societal influence. Even the word influence is in, flu, which means to catch, and to be ends means taking action. So that's what influence means.
Say it again without the word.
In,
To catch.
it's like it's in you,
Yeah.
it's penetrated
inside.
into you. Flu means to catch.
Yeah. Don't say the word flu. Say it like it is. Inside
Ins
to catch internally
and take action.
and take action.
Yeah. So the word spell itself can be defined as to make kind of pay more attention to. So if I put a spell on you, then I'm saying that to get you to focus on that.
Exactly. You want to do you this one? The red.
So it takes real eyes to realize the real lies.
So wild. And
So all of these words that we see can be translated forward, backwards, phonetically, etymologically, numerologically, and they can be arranged in different ways, but each word carries a vibration. So do you know the anatomy of how a spell would work?
no, but tell me.
Well, since you asked and requested, think of electrical circuit. So you've got positive one end, negative on the other. In the middle, you've got potential.
Yeah.
When you have a desire, that's the negative. Okay. Now, the people who are most prone to be cast by spells or spells put upon them are people who don't have something for themselves. So that creates the vacuum already, but they have this unconscious desire to have something. They just don't know what it is consciously.
Okay.
So you've got the negative. Now, in the positive, that's the middle. That's where the potential of it happening is. That's where you absorb it. On the positive end of that, you've got negative, the desire.
Potential in the middle. Which
Potential in
was,
the middle, let's call it zero.
Yeah. Which was what?
Neutral.
Neutral.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you've got the positive, which is the will to act it out.
Okay.
So to the degree that you've got a strong desire, you've got the will to carry it out, then that's the electrical circuit completing itself. The less you have something for yourself in your own life, you become a vacuum for all these spells because you're looking for something to fill the cup.
Yeah.
So the spells would get you in that neutral polarity and then sway you accordingly.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of anatomy
Of a
the
spell.
vibration.
Of a spell's vibration.
Yep.
Yes.
And so people use the word understand. The word understand means standing under one's authority. So you can change understand to understand, which means comprehension within.
Yeah, and being really conscious of what you're understanding, where you're allowing yourself to feel to be underneath.
Well, yep.
I wanted to say it's interesting because we understand the frequency to some extent. I mean, I understand the frequency to some extent. Frequency, energy, we are that. That's what we are. And I think recently there was some quantum physics. They just did a study, and they realized or identified that everything that they knew to be true about the quantum or about our current reality is false. And you know that saying about, does the tree fall in the woods? Actually, it doesn't. That's what they've identified to be true. It doesn't. If no one heard it,
But they've also, what they're really good at as well, and COVID was a good demonstration of this, is they changed the definition of the words.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
So they had to...
Overnight that happened.
But they had to change, for example, they had to change the definition of a vaccine to fit the COVID vaccine to make it fit into the definition of what a vaccine is.
Yeah. And that was happening, right? So there was the vibration undercurrent of people saying that and sharing that this was going to happen. There's so many things like that happened. And then on the news, and that is so wild because I remember feeling the vibration of myself went absolutely insane. I was like thinking I was living through tyrannical times because I couldn't believe that I understood something to be true. And then the very next day, because the news said so, everyone changed their mind.
And it's funny, if you ask people, let's say 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago now, if you trusted politicians or the news, 90% of the people you would talk to say absolutely not. It's mostly crap.
Yeah.
Yet during that period of time, every word that was said was listened to and followed.
Yeah,
that's
wow.
the spell.
I have a real visceral response to that. So the vibration of that and frequency is still within me. I guess I've got some work to do in that sense. I wanted to touch on, before we move on, the idea of that vibrational frequency. And what Pythagoras has brought in was that he demystified words through adding a numerological number to each letter, which meant that each word that was spoken or shared has a mathematical vibration, and that everything can be broken down into a mathematical equation, which therefore gives us a result that is readable or the solvable.
That becomes an equation.
So everything is an equation, which is which gives a whole new light to, essentially, that's what Pythagoras did with numerology, which is essentially was a Vedic tradition, so thousands of years old. And then he came in and was like, actually, let's make everything that, which is magical in its own right. However, it kind of brings it over to the other side. And I was in a circle recently with women, and we were talking about what happens when the science, say the maths, meets the spirit. We reach the top of the mountain. And that's the way that I truly believe this year is going to create. It's going to bring all of these spells to life. We are ready for it as humanity. We are ready to understand the layers
the great
underneath.
Awakening, right?
Yeah, here we're at.
So they say we're in the matrix, which is also comes from Mars tricks. Mars meaning mother, so it's the mother's tricks. Now, aren't we conditioned to listen to mum from early childhood because we get in trouble?
As a mother, I'd like to think we may or may not be. Should probably call it the Fartrix then, because I find that people are much more likely to listen to their father than their mother. In my household, my kids don't listen to anyone, so they are still in the intricts.
Nice.
But
then they listen to TV.
yes, that's
TV is to tell lie.
telly. Oh, wait.
Telly to tell a vision. Tell a vision.
Yeah.
Now, there's a reason they call it a television program, and it's a television broadcast. They're broadcasting the spell or the information or the words or whatever.
And because for those... Okay.
No, you go.
For those that are not, spellbound by our spelling or broadcast already, this is just simple.
Yeah.
Right? This isn't... this is the way the language is functioning for us. And it is something... something that we can really bring all the esoteric and spellbinding understanding into your day-to-day life and understand that actually I am being absolutely...
We're all being casted upon.
Yes.
But so the spells will keep coming, come what may.
Yeah.
But it's our capacity to recognise the spell, because the spell will only work if you don't know it's coming.
If you don't know about it.
Yeah.
Is that in the same way that
I can only put a spell on you or trick you. If you know I'm putting a spell on you, you're just going to, no.
Yeah,
Straight
but
away.
let's also straight away, this is the dark way of spells. This is the spells that have deliberately been placed to infiltrate and impact us, like BK Skinner, was it?
BF, yeah.
BF Skinner was aiming for utilizing linguistics to impact us in a negative manner. That is not what spells also have the ability to do, but we'll come to that in a minute.
So your spells don't always have a negative connotation.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Thank you. Masculine man. I wanted to add that when I was in school, I learnt how to spell the word believe through the, being told over and over, never believe the lie. But actually believe, be lie, V-E, right? So be the lie. A belief essentially is informing us to be a lie.
But it's also be lived, so you're living it as well, which is what you're saying, I guess.
Yeah, but that's
Yeah.
So when we, when we do our shadow work, what's the first thing we want to uncover? Is the thought that became the belief. Now, we also have the positivity or possibility to turn that shadow into lesson, or not lesson, what's another word for that? Essentially positivity. But to be able to...
You want to become your own alchemist.
Yeah, the alchemist. Oh, Morgana's going to love this episode. Yes, so to alchemize these beliefs, what happens then? We're going to alchemize the belief that has been bestowed upon us, the shadow belief that we have internalized, and we're going to alchemize that into being something that is actually we are now going to become the sorcerer of our own life.
Yeah.
And that's what you were just sharing about, that idea that you cannot be bound by the spell unless you allow the spell to bind you without knowing what it is.
Yeah.
Boom.
So another one they get you with is think Hollywood.
Oh, yeah.
Now, we all know Hollywood is movies.
Yeah.
We know that at the conscious level.
Yeah.
However, if you watch a really scary movie, let's say you go to the movies and watch a scary movie.
Oh, I'm not a good scary movie person.
But then later, when the sun goes down or when you go to bed, isn't that playing on you?
Oh, 100%.
So that's the spell, right?
Yeah.
And if you take any movie at all,
Yeah.
be it, pick your favourite one.
So I watched a movie on the plane the other day. It was a romantic one. It was good. I can't think of the name.
So think of the characters archetypally.
Yeah, it was just like...
And it's the same story
Yeah.
every time.
Yeah.
And it's essentially the hero's journey when you think about it. So if
Yeah.
you think of Hollywood as being a form of sorcery, because they use psychology
Yeah.
and subliminal messaging and manifestation, Hollywood comes from the holly tree. The famous magician Merlin
Yep.
had his staff made out of holly wood.
And what is Hollywood?
Well, Hollywood, the place where they make the movies.
No.
Hollywood is the wood from the holly tree
Yeah.
used to make wizards and magicians.
Oh, it's used to
wands
make their wands.
and staffs
Why?
because it's the magical tree.
Oh, okay. That's the magical tree?
Like in ancient times, they saw the holly tree as magic.
Okay. It's interesting because I haven't really seen... There's not many witches out there that are using holly as a...
I'm doing it wrong.
Oh, it's widely cultivated in Australia, just so you know, if you're an Australian witch.
Use it wisely.
And lives up to 300 years long. Whispers from the wood. Wow. That's pretty cool, but obviously I'm going to make... We should make your stuff from Hollywood then. Why don't you have Hollywood? Why did we just get a oak tree stick?
I needed one for a certain photo shoot really quickly.
That's really cool. Do you sit under... Is that what you kiss under, the holly?
It's the holly branch, yeah.
That's what you kiss under at Christmas?
Yeah.
Because it's
No,
magic.
mistletoe. Is that mistletoe?
What's mistletoe?
This is made for great audio.
Sorry. Two different plants.
Yeah. So essentially, it comes back to what we were talking about last week, being trapped in the material. So you could think of it as the powers that be, whether that resonates with you or not, or maybe it's a coincidence. Who knows? So keeping our soul trapped in the earth. So if you think of the solar system, is really translated as the sun system or the soul system. Mm-hmm. So it starts in the stars,
Oh, yes.
descends through the 7 planets,
Yeah.
through the 7 chakras, which has 7 colours, 7 days to make the creation, and cycles of the week. What was your little thing that you shared earlier?
Ladies and gentlemen, now I might be a little bit of I think, so numerologically I'm a 1, and so I'm a bit of a new old soul, right? So what I was sharing with Matt was that when we were doing this preparation and he just told me about the 7 chakras, 7 colours, 7 days of the week, which we could kind of question into whether that's actually serving us, but maybe it is. 28 days, 13 months, maybe 7 days is perfect. But either way, I last night didn't know about what Matt had researched, and I had some form of something 7 something posts, 7 something followers, and 7 something followings. And I don't know, I noticed the 7 and I was like, okay, I've got to look into it. And when I looked into it, what I found was the 7 cast the spell of the angelic conversion or angelic number or angel number. And it means that we're on the right path, which is very beautiful in a sense of what we're trying to understand in terms of, the spell bind of the 7 itself and how that is impacting us to find the right path or to be guided upon the divinity of, or the divine path that we're leading on. The Yana or the Tao or Tao.
Cool.
It's pretty magic.
Cool AF.
But what I was sharing with Matt, just a little side note, was just how Matt has the masculine formation or like the masculine container that's containing within it. Like it's sort of like the river. I'm just the river flowing around going, oh, I felt this or I had this idea. And then Matt's containing it with the yang, which is that, so this is what that means. The soul's being trapped.
So basically, Nuala communicates to me in little dot points here and there.
Yeah.
Little bot there, little bit over there, and then, oh no, put it over there, throw one backwards, throw one over your head.
What do you mean?
But I'm somehow
which
with you, which is the young, I can piece it together and glue it together and make it an actual thing.
Thank you. Perfection.
Someone needs to.
Anyway,
So
moving on.
So we're human.
Human.
Human is the derivative from where the word humus derived.
Oh, yeah.
Humus we find in the soil. We have humus in the soil.
Okay.
That's why we are the creature of the earth. That's what Adam is.
Well, what's Eve?
Eve is the life force, the animating spirit. And you have a man, then a woman came from the ribs of the man, etc. But also hue means light. So light, man. Man is manifested. So we are light manifested. Now, I think we've been deafened by the definition of words of late. Would you agree? So a lot of this stuff now will come from Laurel Orica, who's American linguistic, and she's done a few podcasts and TED Talks as well. But she changed some definitions of the words. So tell me what this... Let me do this so you're
All right.
looking at it.
Yeah.
The word beautiful. What comes up?
Be you. Fully.
I know you read that before.
I didn't. But I'm in my head,
Okay.
be you, I don't know T, but full.
So
be you fully.
you to full.
Be you to the fullest. Oh, that's really sweet.
Mm-hmm.
More.
So the word noble.
Noble.
So think of it like a...
Noble.
Noble?
Noble. Mm-mm.
So think of like a noble quest, right?
It's meant to be, well, the idea of what noble means to me is like a very, the right sort of thing, the right way. But noble,
So she defines it as noble.
no bullshit. So it's just the right quest because there's no bullshit in it.
So the noble is someone who is like the true king, not the imposter.
That's me. True queen. Noble.
What about the word epitome? We're led to believe it's like the highest or the most, what was it? Like the epitome of evil, as an example, like the highest form of...
Highest form of. Well, epitome, when I say it quickly, it's the pit in me.
So it's the I pity me.
So it's not good. It's the victim.
It can be the victim, but it's also, with the victim also comes compassion. But you take the first 7 letters of that, spells compass.
What?
Compass, compassion.
I thought you meant epitome, and I was like, I think there's only 7 letters in that letter, and there's no
Wow.
C.
Good to know that I'm being heard.
I am
Just getting
hearing
child-
you. Okay, compass is the first 7 letters of compassion.
Yes, so that is your compass.
The epitome. Oh, no, we moved along.
We have.
Okay.
It's kind of like it's the yin and the yang
Right, the compassion.
for oneself.
Yes.
So you are your own compass.
Beautiful.
You mean be you too full,
Yeah, to the fullest.
to the fullest.
That's so magic too, because when you say, now when I share that word, and I think this is what we're trying to get to, is the
We'll get there
way
one day.
you use the words
Yeah.
is so profound and magical.
Yeah.
And if you're using them in the way that they are true formed, you can really allow yourself to feel it more, which is what I'm doing lots of, is feeling it and then trying to bring myself to the left side brain and understand the word
To
that
become more whole.
what was that one? Become
In becoming
more whole.
more whole.
Become a whole? Is that the word? What's
Really,
the word?
It really isn't.
No,
I'm just
no.
saying to integrate left and right is to
Yes.
become whole.
Yes.
Now he's making it weird.
I'm just trying to, I thought you were telling me a word. I
No.
thought you found a word of what I was saying.
No, I'm going to go on to a little thing now.
All right, go.
So this is Laurel Orica's secret spell. So she calls it the premier life sentence. So let's see how many people resonate with this.
Oh, yeah.
We awake each morning and go off during the weekdays earn a living doing various jobs and undertakings until we come to the weekend. Yeah? You with me? Do you want me to repeat it?
No, I
You want
got
me
it.
to-
Yeah.
I'll quickly repeat it again
Okay,
so
go.
people don't have to go back. We awake each morning and go off during the weekdays, earning a living doing various jobs and undertakings until we come to the weekend. So this seems acceptable to most people. However, most people die between 6 and 9 a.m. on a Monday morning before their weekday. So what we can do is translate the language. When I say translate, Trance, translate the language. So awake. Awake is a funeral party for the dead. Mourning, that's the state you're in attending a wake. Okay? Weekdays, to earn a living. So an urn,
Is what you go in if you're cremated.
yes, it carries the ashes of the dead. Undertakings, or what we call a job. Job is actually Hebrew for persecuted. And in the end, we get the week end of the deal.
Fucking hell. Get out of that job now. Actually, don't, because it's a snake year. So just like take it easy.
Just be aware.
Being aware of that.
Just be aware. And just
And don't go to
There's a lot
work
of
between 6 and 9.
a lot of us have a mortgage.
Take the Monday off.
A lot of us have a mortgage, which is actually an old French word, which actually means death pledge.
It means death pledge.
Yeah. In an old,
Did you know this
old
when
French
you bought
word.
this place?
We don't need to talk. I'm aware of it. So when you
So spell doesn't impact you?
when you get a life sentence in prison, it's
Oh my
roughly
God.
30 years, which is the same as the average mortgage.
Which is so interesting because that actually hasn't changed. Like they still do mortgages over a 30-year period of time. It's like you'd think that over like decades or hundreds of years, like they'd kind of be like, okay, you know what, we've figured it out. You work less, you make more, you then can live a comfortable life and you have your house in 10 years.
But then you're not consuming as much.
But they don't want us to consume because they want us to die.
No, they want us alive. They want us alive enough to work and pay tax, but sick enough that we need a prescription of something.
But they also want to get rid of 30% of us. By the way, can I note, I just looked up, I tried to find that YouTube, TED Talk, sorry, not YouTube. And the only thing that's coming up is a fact check that states it's not what he said. It's not true. It's conspiracy chaos. It wasn't, there's no evidence that he said what he said. That's
because you're using Google.
Yeah, but my
Yeah.
point is that exactly
Yeah,
is that he likely said this.
he did. I heard it, and I've heard many people talk
Yeah,
about
it did. But the top. My point is that the top
Oh, the top
search is essentially debunking that the spell bind
Well, that's part of the sorcery.
the sorcerers
Yeah.
that have essentially shared this are now trying to
And
wipe it clean.
even what's the Facebook guy?
Zuckerberg.
He was on Joe Rogan talking about fact checking and how the government basically made them do it.
Yeah.
And the White House has officially released a statement that Wuhan lab leaked the virus.
Oh, they have?
That's official, yeah.
Officially.
Yeah.
And that Wuhan lab
Leaked
is...
or let loose is my big question.
Right, but Wuhan lab was the actual... And that Wuhan lab was funded by America? Mm-hmm. They've said that too?
It was initially funded in North Carolina, but then Barack Obama became into power. Then he changed the law, so someone in Fauci took it to Wuhan to continue the gain of function research, but it was all funded by the US.
And that's out.
That's official, yeah.
Oh my God, do you know what was really crazy? Conspiracy, let's just add this to it. So my mother-in-law is Swedish, and she was sharing about they're a bit nervous over in Sweden, and understandably so. This week is the first mass school shooting that they've had. Anyway, so there's lots of tyranny and lots of chaos going on over there at the moment because it's actually infiltrated into society. which has never been the case before, which is so sad, and our heart goes out to everyone impacted and implicated by that sort of experience, because that should not be our life. Now, she shared to my partner the other day that it was talked about on the news in Sweden about insurance companies, or about the fact that America was had, because of the whole Trump takeover, and now people pulling their business out of America, or the implication of America pulling their businesses out of other places, how that was going to impact Europe, and how the negative decline of that. And they were saying that there was this huge talk about insurance companies, and how there was going to be a huge play on or whatever because of the insurance companies. Next minute, LA goes up in smoke. Insurance money comes catapulting in. Now, I learnt from someone through when Australia went through the fires that the fastest way for an economy to increase is to allow insurance money to come in, because there's a web of insurance that runs around the whole world. You're insured, your insurance, whilst you may be paying someone in Australia, I don't know if it's the first worldwide economic resource or economic business, but it's definitely the most steadfast, because insurance cannot be just based in the country that it is because of whatever could happen, the uprising in a country. You need the insurance money to be able to be paid. So there's a web of insurance. It's all internationally linked. The easiest way to make money economically is through a natural disaster, because people are insured for that natural disaster.
Money is the root of all evil.
But isn't that just wild? Because for me, my mother-in-law said, "Oh yeah, that was on the news about how the insurance companies were were being implicated by whatever." And then next minute, there's a fire in America, and the insurance companies come to the rescue.
Yeah, God bless them.
Oh,
That's
it's
the
just
spell.
like you. And I said, I'm like, did she not put two and two together then?
Did she?
No, but she did now.
That's okay.
But it is okay. It's just is what it is. Like, she's under the spells themselves, but it's, whew. Anyway, just feels like insanity.
Well, it's just an example of how many spells are actually being cast.
Yeah.
So if you went on to most people on the street and exposed them to this conversation, we'd be Looney Tunes.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
What
I'm
does
just saying.
Looney Tune mean?
Well, what would it be?
Loo.
Crazy music.
Yeah.
Crazy music. I like that.
Fuck yeah. Do you want me to do my song again?
That'd be
We
good.
are the
So-
wizard and the priestess.
I think I've actually got a video. I might put that up at some point.
And the priestess. Dun, dun, dun.
So we've got some spells for you.
Yes.
I sent you one.
Yeah.
Do you want me to do my one first or your one?
Oh, no, I want to talk about that, though, first,
What?
before we talk about...
The white magic. The white magic which counters the positive that counters the negative.
Yeah, so I just want to touch on this. So we can understand now that the words that we're using have much more depth than the definition, word definition. You know, it's so much, there's so much more poetry in that. And as not as a linguist, but as someone who sits alongside people that are, the power that is in casting our spells, the power that is given to them with the rhythm that they can curate and create. Thank you, Morgana. Just another touch on there. You might find her on Instagram under Azali Bloom. It's like, I'll paraphrase her in saying that utilizing the rhythm that we have in our speech, utilizing rhyme to cast spells. This is why poets are so significant in awakening and, you know, utilizing poetry within your manifestation.
Well, they bring out the emotion in the words, don't they?
Yeah, and that's what do we know to be true? That you have to feel something for it to be believed. The vibration of what you're feeling within yourself is actually going to create the change. And so poetry is a missing link in a lot of, you know, right now we use very simple terms. Australia is we are pretty poor, at this, at using words. We use very simple words, right?
Right, where's stuff that you're talking about?
But we need to, I truly believe that this will be a year that poetry gets another
Okay,
upswing.
Yeah.
Because everyone is opening, the big awakening is occurring, and people will realize the power of their tune, the power of their words, and how they are being cast. So we want to bring this back to this idea that gratitude is how our soul speaks. And so if we can feel gratitude through the understanding of the words that we're casting, we can move ourselves out of the disharmony of victimhood. We can move ourselves out of the disharmony of these shadow beliefs that are essentially lies and bring ourselves back to the beauty.
Beautiful.
So we can understand the fullness of ourselves
Yeah.
in the compass and follow our compass in the compassion that we house.
Bang.
Could she do more? Could she do it? Now,
Before we go into the spells,
Yeah,
we'll
yeah.
preface by saying that the heart of the white magic, we'll call it, is the experience of joy of union with creation itself.
poetry.
Aiding oneself towards the love and the light to aid the planetary vibration. Universe. We are made up of the universe, yeah?
The one.
Uni, one, verse, song.
One
There's
song.
only one song. Spell it.
Oh, mate. And so when you think of witches and witchcraft, and so we've spoken about the other aspect of what we don't actually correlate to being the witchcraft spell-bounding information. But when you actually sit with what can happen when you cast spells and when you sit in ritual with that spell, the power and the magic that comes from the meditative state and vibration and frequency.
It's about putting yourself in that trance state, but making it work for you.
Yeah, and so that's where, utilizing the vibration of plant, the vibration of word, the whole encompassing aspect of meditative trance, bring it all together, then you have the power of the spell.
Yeah.
And so
Do you want to do this one? This one's shorter. I might get this one first.
you want to, how about we just do the one? You just do the spell.
Is that like a wizard thing?
Of course it is.
Cool. So this is a self-love mirror spell. So this ritual can be performed while doing your makeup, doing your hair, even washing your face, doing your blinky coffee, getting ready.
I just want to note that as you do this, allow yourself first to come into a space. So whether it is you're doing your makeup and you're looking into the mirror, you want to take a moment to breathe and land. You want to take a moment you don't want to rush this. You want the vibration to be in that trance state as you look towards yourself. Yeah.
So we can use any kind of drawing apparatus, what we have at our disposal at the time, to draw on the mirror.
All right.
So bless the mirror, or you can consecrate it by drawing like a protective symbol.
Can also
that you
use
associate with.
smoke.
Smoke, yep. In the information of a circle, write compliments to yourself around where your face is. These can be positive affirmations like strength, I am beautiful, etc. So write these but with the intention of boosting your confidence. Now use the circle of compliments while you're doing your makeup / hair / whatever you're doing in the mirror, stating these positive affirmations, or just washing your face and getting ready for that day ahead.
Bed.
Or bed, yeah. You can leave the circle of compliments up as a helpful spell for every time you use the mirror, or you can update them every time you want to redo the spell.
The magic of mirror work and the magic of this sort of spell and allowing these words to infiltrate the psyche. And I highly recommend, as you write down whatever word you choose, that you break it down in the way that we have today. And you break it down so that it makes sense to you and nourishes your every
cell
yeah.
of your being.
Wow.
Deep.
I feel like I want to big like, you know, like the magics. Right, you ready to do it with you?
Try. Yeah, that's a bit.
Thanks for listening.
You've been listening to The Wizard and the Priestess. Thanks for stopping by. Stay connected, and be open.